changes now.
There we have the Attorney General, Letitia James, in the front row.
Not my president. He's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered.
We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated.
An administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale.
Later.
You'll find out, and they'll find out too.
A New York appeals court just this morning has thrown out President Donald Trump's massive civil fraud penalty.
We will put your fat ass in prison.
Letitia Peekaboo James has been defeated again because the appellate court out there in New York threw out this ridiculously cruel and unusual punishment, quoting the 8th Amendment of the Constitution. Now, I knew that this was going to happen, regardless of the merits, honestly, because the penalty just doesn't make sense. The only thing that's a shame about these political and court systems is that there's no process to force them to go faster, because the goal was to prevent Trump from getting elected, take all his money, take his business, ruin his reputation, all of those things. And she, to an extent, was successful, at least temporarily. So Trump still had to deal with it. But of course, obviously, we know how that turned out. Teflon Don was too crucial. He was too strong. Okay, Letitia Peekaboo James has not been working on her cardio and her strength training. Okay, President Trump at least golfs. So let's go ahead and react to Fox News talking about this in a little bit greater detail here.
Well, a Fox News alert, a New York appeals court just this morning has thrown out President Donald Trump's massive civil fraud penalty. The decision from a 5-panel group in New York's appellate division changed the original decision that stood to cost Trump over $500 million. One appeals judge calling the lower court's penalty an excessive fine that violates the 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Boom.
You might remember that New York Attorney General Letitia James' office says despite this decision, they will not be dropping the case. Let's get some thoughts from Andy McCarthy. He's a former U.S. attorney. He is a Fox News contributor. He is on the phone with us. And last summer, you were helping us every single day as President Trump sat in that courtroom. Letitia James, the AG, she happened to be there as well. And at the time, I remember, Andy, you said that you thought this could be the outcome once the appellate court got a hold of it. What are your thoughts this morning?
Well, I think, Dana, that Trump may be ultimately completely exonerated on this. For now, the penalty goes. There was division in the appeals court about the merits of the underlying suit, but as you point out, what they found basically under an 8th Amendment theory, that's the amendment that prohibits cruel and unusual punishments, there was such a mismatch between whatever wrong was actually established in the trial and the outrageous penalty that was imposed for it, which was, I think, $355 million, which with interest and other costs is already up to about $530 million now because it continued to accrue for a while. That was such a ridiculous mismatch between what the penalty was and whatever the wrong was that was established that had to go.
Bear in mind, guys, there's no damages. I mean, usually the damages are for some sort of company or individual, usually for an individual based off consumer protection. In this case, everybody was paid. So this is not even real damages. This is a straight up penalty. That's what makes this egregious. It's like, who the hell did I hurt? Who did I harm? The argument was, oh, he hurt the system because he was frauding people. Like, according to who? You?
The court is leaving in place some other what they call injunctive rulings that were made by the court. So some things have to be sorted out, like how much monitoring Trump's organization is going to be under. But he's out from under the most important part of the case, obviously. And I think there could still be an appeal to the highest appeals court in New York, the Court of Appeals, where they will deal with the question that seems to have vexed the appellate division, which is the whole merits of the case and whether Letitia James, the Attorney General in New York State, should have been able to use a consumer protection statute that had never been used in this way to try to establish a fraud case based on sophisticated financial actors where,
it's supposed to go to the commercial division, not for basic consumer protection. There was no consumers involved here. That's one of the biggest arguments that President Trump made from the beginning. And to be honest with you, I'm shocked that the courts even found that she was able to bring this case and was within her rights to bring the case in the way that she did. This just seems like a freaking clown world to begin with.
This is not a situation that a consumer protection statute was ever meant to apply to.
Yo, man, I went to Truth Social and President Trump is trolling Letitia James here. Check this out.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Now, the Trump team did respond to this. Take a quick look.
We're just getting some new reaction in from the White House right now. If we can pull this up, this is from Trump spokesman Stephen Chung saying, quote, Letitia James' political crusade against President Trump, which is barred by the statute of limitations, and where she ludicrously valued Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach, Florida, as worth a paltry $18 million, as well as committed a ton of other fatal errors, is just another failed skirmish in the discredited lawfare campaign against President Trump, his family, and his business that other Democrat prosecutors are dropping left and right.
And President Trump himself has responded on Truth Social. I'm going to go ahead and read the entire thing. I know most people don't really have a Truth account, but I mean, might as well get one. Why not? Total victory in the fake New York State Attorney General Letitia James case. Should have put Peekaboo James. I greatly respect the fact that the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision that was hurting business all throughout New York State. Others were afraid to do business there. The amount, including interest and penalties, was $550 million. It was a political witch hunt in a business sense, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. This was a case of election interference by the city and state trying to show illegally that I did things that were wrong, when in fact, everything I did was absolutely correct and even perfect, in all caps. Every single dollar was thrown out, even the penalties imposed on us by the corrupt judge, one of the most overturned in history, Arthur Engoron. I wasn't given a jury, and during the course of the trial, which lasted a long time, was not given one ruling in my favor by this political hack. But worse than him, if that's possible, was Letitia Peekaboo James, a corrupt and incompetent attorney general who brought this case in order to hurt me politically. She is a Trump deranged lunatic with an exclamation point on that mug. They made me bond the outrageous sum which never happened before and which cost me millions of dollars a month. It should never have been allowed. I'm sorry, let me get through this. It should never have been allowed to happen, and everyone knew it. Importantly, the vote was 5-0. I was so honored by Justice David Friedman's great words of wisdom, which should be read by everyone. I would also like to thank the court for having the courage to make this decision, which is already going down as one of the worst business prosecutions in the history of our country. Sadly, there are other cases against me that are equally disgraceful, including those headed up by corrupt judges like Juan Merchan, whose daughter collected millions of dollars in fees from crooked Joe Biden and cackling Kamala Harris, while her father shockingly refused to recuse himself from a vicious and corrupt trial, which is under appeal, one in which every legal pundit in New York said there was no case. Even editorial board said, do not do this. Judge Engoron gave me an unprecedented gag order, not letting me talk about him or his daughter or the fact that the appellate judges thought he should not be doing the case, but he did it anyway. Many judges said that his daughter and him created the greatest conflict of interest they had ever seen. Judge Lewis Kaplan, the other remaining case whose wife, family, and friends attended his two trials, is as mean and nasty as anyone I've ever met. That case also on appeal, should also never have been brought, and he should be admonished for abuse, and every other thing can be thrown at the corrupt judge. He loved the publicity and would not let us present the irrefutable evidence that we wanted to present. This Clinton appointed judge should not be allowed to get away with this scam. And he continued. He wasn't even done, guys. So he continued here. These were all political trials in an effort to destroy my viability as a presidential candidate before, during, and after the election. They were strongly coordinated with the Biden-Harris campaign and will go down in history as among the most corrupt cases ever brought. These two cases are even more ridiculous than the corrupt Letitia James case and will be found out to be so in the near future. All these judges should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen. They are political hacks who did everything possible to hurt me as a candidate. This was an attack by the Biden-Harris administration on their political opponent, me. It is such an honor. I love it when he says he's like, me. It's such an honor to have withstood it, thrived, and even become president of the United States of America, MAGA in this bit. Despite everything they've done to me. I'd like to thank and congratulate my son, Eric Trump, and all the many people in the Trump organization that fought so strongly for justice. My legal team refused to give up against heavy odds. This is a great day for New York City and state. MAGA. Okay, look, I added the MAGA myself because President Trump has earned that one, guys. I mean, that was a long little monologue here, but I think it's well deserved because these people are trying to ruin him and his family. So ha to Letitia. She's got the biggest egg on her face and egg on your face history. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
Do you have any concerns about her being married to her father? Is that something we need to look into?
Listen, I think everybody's got concerns about that one. That's just not something that everybody thinks is cool. I don't. It's just weird, to quote a former person running for the vice presidency that we won't talk about. But look, at the end of the day, this is what happens. You have these officials who want to go on these witch hunts while at the same time they're doing dirt behind the shadows, in the shadows. It's simply wrong. She should be held accountable like anybody else.